Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings, salutations. Welcome to And I Quote, a weekly show where we introduce you to some of the best creators from all over the world, and we find out more about them by taking your questions. I'm your host, Ryan of And I Quote channel, and our guest on this week's episode is indie writer Scott Pearson is here. Hello, good sir. How are you today?
Good morning, Ryan. Glad to be here.
Very happy that you are here, Scott. We're also happy that you are here, who may be watching or listening to this program right now. So do yourselves a favor, like and share this with all of your closest friends. If you have any questions for our guest of honor, Scott, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat. And if you're joining us live or what is known as a replay, thank you so much for doing so. With that piece of business out of the way, Scott, what would you say were some of your favorite books or writers growing up as a Padawan?
Growing up, The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings leaps out as a book that I've read over and over. Ray Bradbury's The Martian Chronicles. Before I got wholly into genre stuff, I read a lot of Jim Kelgard's books, Big Red. I don't know if you're familiar with those. They're, they're nature based. They're about a dog. Big Red is a dog, an Irish setter.
Okay, all right. So this is a bit new for me, but that's really cool that you read all those. Good names and good choices too. Nothing wrong with those at all. Do you have any favorite TV series, past or present?
Well, Star Trek is my favorite TV series, I guess you could say. If the viewers can see what's behind me, this is the wall of Star Trek. It's all Star Trek books and memorabilia, and Star Trek is a lot of my professional life too. So that looms large in TV history for me.
Man, you must hold a potential Guinness Book of World Records for most Star Trek books in a single home. I'm not sure if someone's willing to go out to his home and do the counting for us and let us know if he's going to win the gold medal or not. That would be great, because that is a plethora of Star Trek I see behind you. Good heavens almighty!
That's only a tiny fraction of the shelves.
Oh, it's only a tiny fraction. I'm sorry. I thought it was most of it. I'm completely wrong. What would you say? Bonus question, if you don't mind me asking. Favorite Star Trek series and captain?
I have to go with the original series and Kirk, because that's what I started watching when I was a kid. That's what really set the hook deep in me, and so that's my go-to answer.
Ah, okay. What was your favorite Star Trek film?
Boy, Star Trek II, perhaps?
Wrath of Khan. Why am I not surprised? 99.9999999% of the Star Trek fans I've interviewed on the history of this broadcast and this show, mind you, has said that their favorite one is Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan. So I'm not surprised. I'm not all that surprised. I've heard it so many times before, whether I'm at Farpoint, Shore Leave, some of the other shows in and around the northeastern United States, or just here on this show. Nothing wrong with that. Aside from Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, do you have any other favorite movies, past or present?
2001: A Space Odyssey is one of my favorites. Boy, there's just so many. I love classic 1950s movies. The Giant Ant movie, I just picked up on 4K recently. I love that one. The films of Ray Harryhausen. All
right. Ray Harryhausen I'm familiar with. The one that you mentioned about the giant spider butt crawling creature, I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a great so it's a giant ant movie.
Yes.
Black and white, came out in the 50s. It's just it's very character driven, on top of the giant ants, and they did a pretty good job, as good a job as they could with the giant ants at the time the film was made.
All right, I may have to add this to my what do you call it, watch later list, or my watch list on streaming services, if I can find it, or physical media, because I'm also a proponent of physical media. As you have behind you, you have many books, right? I got many books behind me too, so I'm a big proponent of physical media, folks. Definitely keep and hold on to those, as one might say. That is very, very true. But no, I'm gonna have to look this one up and sit down and watch this, because I am a fan of black and white movies, because I didn't start getting into them until a little bit more recently, within the last few years. Whether it's the Maltese Falcons, the Casablancas of the world, some of the classic Universal monster movies from the 40s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. So, yeah, I've got some catching up to do. There's a lot, and of course, I've seen what's the other black and white movie? Oh, It's a Wonderful Life, right? That's another one. So, yeah, I've seen some of the classics, yes, but I do have a lot of homework to do. I'm a bit younger than some of my guests on this show. But hey, we're all young at heart here, Scott, so you don't have to worry about it, because you know why? Because age is just a bloody number, Scott. It's a freaking number, and it doesn't really enter my mind. We're all young at heart, 25 and younger. Whatever. We're all 25, and we don't look a day over 25. It's just one of those catchphrases. But outside of the movie realm, when exactly did you start writing?
I started writing in the 6th or 7th grade. That's when I realized that I really loved it and decided I wanted to be a writer. And I started pursuing it right away, just cranking out stories and sending them off to magazines like Isaac Asimov's fantasy and science fiction, that sort of thing. And these were the first stories I wrote, so they were just as awful as you could imagine. But I was a kid. I didn't know they were bad. And so I stacked up a lot of rejection slips, and that's back when it was all through the mail. A lot of postage was being spent for no good reason by me.
I gotcha. Taking it back just a few years, folks, maybe a few decades. Like I said, all we gotta do is find a DeLorean, go 88 miles per hour, see some serious blank, and then we get 1.21 gigawatts of action. So there you go. That's what happens. In a general sense of the word, though, what would you say are some of the rewards about being a writer?
Wow, that is an interesting question. Well, I think that you end up dealing with a lot of the stuff in your head in a healthy way. It's not quite therapy, but you're getting stuff out on paper that maybe otherwise would just be boiling around inside your skull. So I think that's a good thing. I think maybe it makes you a little bit more empathetic to people, because you're imagining yourself in the shoes of other characters. That's what comes to me off the top of my head.
Excellent points, and we thank you for sharing with us. On the flip side of the coin, though, what would you say are some of the challenges about being a writer?
Well, if you have this compulsion to tell stories like I do, you really also want to be able to share them with people. But you have to know up front that, big success for a writer is not guaranteed. And, there's always going to be all these big, huge, famous writers that you can aspire to. And it can be frustrating when, they're on this level up here and you're, my other hand is down out of frame. But you have to make your peace with, achieving whatever level that you do. But as long as you're getting your stories out there, you're accomplishing something.
Well put. And any pieces of advice you would offer to aspiring writers out there?
You just got to keep at it. You just got to keep grinding away. And it's always better to get feedback if you're really just starting out. I always recommend taking some classes. You don't have to get a degree in English or creative writing to be a writer, but you need to find a way to get feedback and develop and learn to take criticism so you can really grow in your craft. And so, writers groups or classes, friends who read a lot that are willing to read your stories and be honest and tell you what they think of them, all those things can be really formative for a beginning writer.
There you go. The more you know. And what? See, there you go. I know that's a bit of a throwback. I'm sorry, but I just had to throw that in there for good measure. It happens every once in a while on this program. I will remind you that this is, and I quote, the greatest show on earth that you never heard of until you do. Do not forget to like and share. If you have any questions for Scott Pearson, let us. I know, right? Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. If you're joining us live on a replay, thank you for doing so. I saw an interesting cover of a book, and I want to share this with you for just a moment here. So, The Sad Reigns of Mars. And when I look at this, I'm thinking, did Sherlock Holmes and John Watson have a bit of a facelift or some cosmetic surgery, or do they have a metamorphosis happen in the middle of the night that no one was aware of? I'm just curious, what exactly is The Sad Reigns of Mars, and how did this come about?
So this is my collection that I put out recently. Actually, I guess it's been a year or so now, but so it's a dozen short stories. 9 of them have been previously anthologized in various places. 3 of them are available in print only in this collection. And The Sad Reigns of Mars is the title of one of the stories in the collection. And so that's the cover illustration is inspired by that story. And that story is a very sort of Jules Verne, retro Victorian sci-fi kind of story. So it's the British Empire has colonized Mars, and the lead character in the story is a female Martian detective who's portrayed there standing in the center, and she's investigating murder of a human alongside the officers, the British officers. And it's a very, very Sherlock Holmes-ish. She's a stand-in for Sherlock Holmes. She's the kind of detective that can look at the tiny little details and tease out amazing bits of facts and stuff. And but then I just have a lot of fun with it. It's this alternate timeline Mars thing, and there's lots of little Easter egg references to Edgar Rice Burroughs and Ray Bradbury and War of the Worlds, and really fun story. And that's one that I wrote specifically for this collection to be a brand new story that wasn't available anywhere else.
Well, it is that cover, by the way, is very unique. It definitely stands out amongst the crowd, right? It sticks out like a sore thumb in the best way possible, because
the artist's name. Yeah. The artist's name is Jeffrey Hayes, and he was great to work with. I sent him the relevant. I sent him the whole story, The Sad Reigns of Mars, but I highlighted the various parts that described the characters and the architecture and that sort of thing. And, then he sent me a rough draft. I gave him a little feedback, and I'm super happy with the final result.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was Jeffrey Hayes of plasmafiregraphics.com. When the look of your book matters to you. Okay, there's the catchphrase. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was Jeffrey Hayes or not, because this is another example of Jeffrey Hayes' work for Bobby Nash's Snow series. This is another example over here with the Captain Hawkland series by our good friend Charles F. Millhouse of Stormgate Press, if you're not familiar with him. Yeah, Jeffrey Hayes is just hashtag like a boss. I mean, he just kills it every single time. And every time I see a cover for someone's book, story, what have you, I always think, is this a movie poster? Because honestly, I feel like this is a movie that's going to come out tomorrow, and I'm going to rush to the theater to see it. Kind of same thing with yours, Scott. The Sad Reigns of Mars looks like a sci-fi Sherlockian movie that I want to see.
Yeah, he's great. He does a lot of work with a small press called Crazy 8, and I'm friends with all those guys. And so when I was when I knew that I wanted a cover artist, I just emailed those guys and said, who do you use? Who does your great covers? And they pointed me at Jeffrey, and yeah, I'd recommend him to any indie author that's looking for a great cover for their book.
That's a valid point. Good luck getting on his list, though, because I hear he's booked until the end of 2027 already. It's insane. The guy is a workhorse. He's a man. He's the man.
Yes.
So
I'm a little concerned. I've got one book that I'd like him to do a cover for in 27, and I don't know that he'll be able to squeeze me in.
You never know until you ask. That's what. You can always shoot him an email and say, "Hey, I got this project coming up. Would you be willing to do a cover for me? If so, let me know. We'll work out a deal. And if not, You know, I understand you're a very busy man, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, no, he's great. I've interviewed him once before here on the show. He's a wonderful man, and he's just so good at what he does. And anytime I talk to someone who's interested in potential cover design, I do my best to either share the information with them, or I say, hey, here's a promo you may want to look at, and then I share with them the promo that Jeffrey Hayes put out some year. I know it's kind of outdated. It's outdated now, but we still run it here on And I Quote here in the studio and during the latter part of our show, because Jeffrey Hayes is awesome, and we want to get his name out there as much as humanly possible. So indie supports indie in this business. You know, that's just how I am. That's how a lot of people are in this world. So yeah, indie supports indie. That's what we do around here. So with The Sad Rains of Mars out now, what's going to be, just out of curiosity, I know we're kind of jumping ahead here, but what is coming next for you after The Sad Rains of Mars? Do you have any other anthologies you want to put out, or you want to focus on a particular one set story?
My main project right now is the third book in a series. I'm doing a series with a friend of mine, William Leisner, called Tales of the Weird World War. And each volume contains at least 2 novellas, one by Bill, one by myself. And it's set on Earth, but these shape-shifting monsters are taking human form and doing, we're not quite sure what. No one knows, why are they here? Where did they come from? What's their goal? And with each volume in the series, we jump forward a decade. So the first volume was set in the 40s, and then we did volume 2 set in the 50s, and we're working on volume 3 now, set in the 60s. And with each jump forward, the timeline becomes more alternate, because the presence of the monsters becomes more public and widespread in the world. And so that's the main thing I'm working on right now.
Well, in the words of our good friend Spock, fascinating.
I'll just
yeah, sure.
Hold up quickly. So
there you are.
There is volume 1, set in the 1940s, and is very noirish. My story, The Big Dark, is first person narrated by a down on his luck detective, so it's very Sam Spade kind of feel to it. And then this is the 1950s one, so that has more of a 1950s vibe. And yeah, we're working on volume 3.
Excellent, great covers too. I'm getting some, the problems of the world are not my department. I'm getting some bogey lines right there. And then that 50s one, is that kind of an homage to Godzilla, I'm assuming?
Yep. That's Bill's story. Project G is about a movie studio in Japan that's shooting a movie with a giant monster in it, and so it definitely is a tip of the hat to Godzilla.
Very nice. I like both covers. They're excellently well done. I don't know if excellently is a word, but they're well done. They're really good stuff. Congratulations on all of that. Look forward to seeing what you're doing moving forward. Do you have an author, living or dead, you would love to have a conversation with, and why?
I kind of right away go to J.R.R. Tolkien, because Lord of the Rings is one of my all-time favorite novels. And I would just like to ask him, what is the deal with Tom Bombadil? If you've read Lord of the Rings, you know that there's just a big question mark by that character. It doesn't seem to fit into any of the rest of the mythology. It's fascinating. Also, it's people have their own theories about what explains Tom Bombadil. And J.R.R. would probably never actually tell anyone the real deal behind that character. Maybe, I don't know, but
interesting. One does not simply walk into Mordor. Sorry, I was one of the first thing that came to my mind. Because, forgive me, I have yet to read the series of novels of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, but I've seen the movies. The Lord of the Rings trilogy is good. I mean, it's not one of my. Let me put it to you this way: I like Lord of the Rings, but I don't love it like a lot of people do, and that's okay. That's fine. And then I watched The Hobbit, the first movie, The Hobbit, and I thought, this is boring. What the heck is going on? But then everyone says to me, read the book. Read the book, read the book, read the book. You'll be fine. The Hobbit is a way better book than it is as an adaptation in a movie. So,
yeah, that it was unfortunate that they kind of went for the big money grab and decided we need since Lord of the Rings was 3 movies, we need 3 movies of The Hobbit. But the Lord of the Rings was 3 giant books, and The Hobbit is 1 little book.
Mm-hmm.
Expanding it, was a misstep.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. But yeah, The Hobbit's on my TBR list. I'll put it to you that way. And I'm willing to give the Fellowship of the Ring a chance because of the movies anyway, Fellowship of the Ring was always my favorite installment of the trilogy, with all due respect. But once again, I'll go back and read The Hobbit before I read Fellowship of the Ring. So, see what happens with that. You never know, right? Just one of those things. Do you have any special memories from being at conventions, whether you're there as the vendor or there as an attendee?
Well, I actually don't go to a lot of conventions. Part of that was because I'm from Minnesota, northern Minnesota. I'm like basically live in the woods growing up. I mean, in a house, but a house in the woods. And there weren't a lot of conventions in northern Minnesota when I was growing up. And so I just never got in the habit of attending. And then once I moved to the Twin Cities and started getting around a bit more, I would go to conventions here and there. Probably my biggest memory, I mean, the one convention that I go to regularly is Shore Leave, which I know you're familiar with. And I've been going there since I think 2006 was my first Shore Leave. And I was there as a writer guest because I'd gotten a Star Trek short story in the Strange New Worlds short story contest. And so that first con in 2006, the first Shore Leave for me, I knew I had to not be my regular introvert self. I had to go and get out of my shell and meet people and introduce myself and meet the writers. And so I went up and introduced myself to Marco Palmieri, who was the editor of the line at the time, and Dave Mack, one of the big writers. And I got to know those guys. And that was really the start of a lot of my professional career right there when I met those people at that first con. So I guess, that's a very special memory for me. Shore Leave 2006.
All right. That's a great, and I've been to Shore Leave many times. I've volunteered with Shore Leave. I've attended the show. I went there this year. I think you and I must have missed each other because I was there this year, but I was only there for the day on Sunday, and I was there during Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning, so there was a lot going on. A lot of the Crazy Eight guys were on panels. Some of the other guys I knew who were writers were on panels. R.D. Marino, who was there that weekend, he was on the panel with Interfleet Broadcasting, talking about Battlestar Galactica and bringing that towards the forefront of fandom. So, yeah, sorry that you and I missed each other. I apologize, but hopefully next time at Shore we can see each other and say hi to one another.
Definitely.
Yeah, it would definitely be a good time, and it is a good show. There's a lot of great writers there. And while I was there, I ended up buying a few books because I can't help it. I want to support indie writers, right? That's kind of our thing. So the best we can do is buy a book, share a book, review a book, all that kind of jazz, right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's all part of the circle of life. as one might say. What would you say are 3 fictional books that belong on everyone's bookshelf?
I'm trying to think of something other than books that I've already mentioned, but I really am tempted to say The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury. That is just such a great book. Or Fahrenheit 451 by Bradbury. I wouldn't necessarily recommend The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings to every single person because it is The Lord of the Rings is a big, dense read, and I know that that's not for a lot of people. Boy, now I'm kind of drawing a blank. There's just so many to choose from. Some of the classics, the works of Edgar Allan Poe. Let's see. I wish I was sitting in a different place in my office so I could see more of my books to be inspired by. That's why I'm kind of leaning over now. I'm trying to look at my bookshelves to. I would have to say the Sherlock Holmes, the novels of Sherlock Holmes, the original Conan Doyle novels have been a big inspiration to me. I've written both traditional Sherlock Holmes stuff and genre Sherlock Holmes stuff. And I think that they are still so entertaining these days, the originals. Back during COVID, my wife and I and some friends of ours got together once a week or so when the weather was nice, because we could just sit outside and we would read a Sherlock Holmes short story and then get together and sit, properly far enough apart and discuss the story. It was great.
Elementary, my dear Watson. No, I'm kidding. But no, that's great. That's great stuff and good choices. And if anyone's interested, definitely check out those books. And yeah, I haven't read this yet, but I have the 60th anniversary edition of Fahrenheit 451. So it's on the list.
It's a lovely edition. Yeah.
Yeah, it sure is. Yep. And it's right over here on one of my several TBR shelves, because I think I have, gosh, how many books do we have in here now? Almost 200 on my TBR. It's pretty bad. And it's only getting worse, because the more indie authors I meet, the more I connect with them and talk with them and hear what they have to say about their work, the more I'm drawn to it. And I think, okay, my wallet's going to hate my guts, but the authors are going to love it because I'm supporting people who are just trying to get their names out there and celebrate the stories that they love. So, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, a few weeks ago, or a week or so ago, we had the Writer's Showcase, which is a monthly show. We do here at And I Quote Channel, where we gather a group of 4 writers together of different genres, and we ask them a series of questions about the writing process, some of the favorite characters they may have written, and all that good stuff. And during one of our shows, 2 writers bought each other's copies of their books during the show. Nice. And I thought, okay, this is the first time this has ever happened, at least for me anyway. And I don't know how many times it may have happened on other people's programs, where you get a group of people together who may have written books, and they're like, oh yeah, I like the premise of your book. I'm going to buy it right now on Kindle Unlimited, or I'm going to buy a copy of it on the Zon and get a hardcover because this sounds really fascinating to me. You know what I mean? So yeah, it happened to us about a week or so ago. I thought that was very interesting. And that's like, hey, you got something that's a murder mystery, and then this person over here has a romance mystery kind of thing, a bit of a romance, but more of a mystery kind of thing. It's like, oh, okay. I think these 2 writers are going to complement each other's writing very well. There you go. It works. Connections, folks. Connections. Bring it all together. So all good things. And Scott, you're more than welcome to join us on a future episode of the Writer's Showcase if you would like to sit in with 3 other writers of different genres and just talk shop about the writing process, if that sounds something of interest to you.
That does. That sounds fun.
All right. I will get in touch with you outside of the show. We'll email each other. I'll send you the date for the seats that I have available for a show coming up in the next few months. See if that works for you. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Wonderful. All right. So Scott Pearson and I will be in touch about that, and then we'll make that announcement once more information is put together and put all the pieces together. But with that being said, I do want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much to Scott Pearson for being our guest on this week's episode specifically of And I Quote. Scott, thank you for being here and sharing a little bit about your stories, your work, and some of the things that you enjoy the most about storytelling and writing and all that jazz. If someone wants to know more about you and purchase copies of your books, where can they follow you on social media?
They can go to my website, that is scott-pearson.com, and that'll have links to all the other things that I'm on. As far as social media goes, I'm on Facebook and I'm on Blue Sky and some other things that I can't remember, but Blue Sky is where I'm the most active, and I'm Scott.Pearson on there. You can find me there, and you can find my email on my website as well if you want to drop me a question directly. That's how you can find me.
Excellent. Thank you, sir, for being with us. Do greatly appreciate it. Wish you all the best of luck with your anthologies, your storytelling, all that stuff. And you and I are going to be in touch here very, very soon about a future episode of the Writer's Showcase. My name is Ryan. You can follow me across all forms of social media simply at, where am I pointing to? Where is it? At And I Quote Channel. It's where you can find previous episodes of And I Quote, the movie watch-alongs, the Writer's Showcase, all that jazz. I do want to remind you that we are on the road to 5,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel. And once we do, we'll have a live stream celebration that will include giveaways that you, the incredible person who's watching or listening to this program right now, are going to be eligible to win. Also, help us reach 1,000 followers on our Instagram page, because once we reach 1,000 followers on the Instagram page, we are also going to be doing a giveaway for that. So it's all in the description. It's all in the social media bios. Also, the seasons are changing, folks. We got hoodies. We got shirts. We got stickers you can add to your water bottle, stationery, notebooks, coffee mugs, all kinds of great things. In our Redbubble store, everything is on sale right now, so check out the link in the description of this video. Also, you can check it out on our social media bios, respectively. Check out my short story, Wolf of the West, which is a part of Western Tales Volume 1, published by our good friends at Veritas Entertainment. It is 16 different writers, 15 different stories, available on Amazon in ebook, paperback, and hardcover. And Western Tales Volume 2 is coming soon. So check all that stuff out. Support all the indie writers out there that you possibly can. We really appreciate it. Do not forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when our videos go up or they go live. Remember, life is better when supporting indie creators from all over the world. Take a look.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasmafire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.